G4TV, they still haven't learned. And you know what? I will wring that rag dry for content and I will monetize off their stupidity. And you know what? Let's ridicule them, right? For your entertainment and mine. This is the post that has been making the rounds now. So this is almost a week old, right? In fairness, this was like 5 days ago that this was posted. So a couple days after the controversy, right? And for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, links in the description below for the video, for those of you to get caught up to speed. But long story short, Frosk, who is a host of G4TV's X-Play, decided that she was going to go on a rant about sexism in gaming right after talking about Red Dead Online. Came completely out of nowhere. You can see that even her host, it seems like the two hosts next to her didn't know that this was going to happen by their reaction. I don't know if the Black Akage knew, but it seemed like Gerard, the gaming completionist, the guy to her right, seems like he didn't know. He seemed really taken aback by the whole thing, but that's neither here nor there. There's been fallout ever since, and it's been great. It's been so entertaining to watch in real time because they continue to divide their base. They locked down their subreddit, made a video about that. Like I said, link in the description if you want to get caught up on that. But then you had this, right? It says, a lot of folks are having a hard time understanding that a public forum, this subreddit, for example, has moderators that reserve the right to enact bans and delete comments based off rules violations. Fair, right? I mean, that's what moderators are there for. They're there exactly for that. No problem there, right? But it's funny because they always use this mantra. Didn't I say this? I said this in a previous video. Remember? I said this, right? They always use this mantra, right? Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences. It's funny. They always say that. They want to live by that sword, but they're not willing to die by that sword. Censorship is a whole different beast. We aren't trying to censor folks for having different opinions. Are you sure about that? We're weeding out the folks in this community who are obviously here to spread their thoughts that no one ever asked for in bad faith. Huh, that's funny. Did anybody ask for Frosk's thoughts on sexism in gaming before she decided to pop off about him? Because it doesn't look like her co-hosts asked or even knew. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe it was all just an act that they were putting on. But did anybody ask them if it was okay to be put on the spot because she had a hot take that they didn't know or might have not known was coming? Because I'm guessing Adam Sessler knew. But that's just, I'm assuming. I'm just assuming. I'm speculating on that, right? This includes, but is not limited to, calling Frosk a liar. Okay? When you don't know her on any level and just have strong feelings about video game topics, saying Frost's lived experiences aren't that big of a deal or that they're not real, especially coming from men who already are coming from a place of privilege that would need to be active listeners to understand, and general incivility in the comments. Wow, that's a pretty broad assertion. So that's another instance, right? They're drawing the line in the sand yet again. You do know that men make up almost 60% of gamers, right? I don't know if 60% of your audience on your subreddit is men. Probably won't be after this, right? That number, I would assume, would probably drop after a take like this, right? I would think. Could be wrong, but you can have opinions, but once they start to dive into the realm of hurting other people or include assumptions about someone you do not even have the slightest knowledge of, that's just not okay. The self-awareness here is astounding. This person, this moderator, literally just did that with what they said right here. Okay? Look, it doesn't matter if people believe Frosk or not, and they want to bring that up, or even if they imply it. Okay? That shouldn't matter at all, and it shouldn't be to the point where it gets you all offended. People have their right to their opinion about anybody. As long as, I think that as long as they're not making any kind of threats or inciting any kind of violence or anything like that against them, nothing's off the table. Or just saying stuff that is completely vitriol, right? Like they go on to say later on here, right? That they're not saying just really heinous and derogatory things. They should be able to say whatever they want. If they say they don't believe her, right? Not even call her a liar, but say they don't believe her or believe that she's experienced the things that she's experienced, I think they're entitled to that opinion. So, and it's funny, again, what they say here. You just made a broad assertion about men. You don't know what their lived experiences are or the people that are reading this subreddit. So you're painting everyone with a pretty broad brush right now. Many of y'all really need to calm down and keep some of your ideals to yourself. Huh, that's funny, right? To say this, right? We always see this. Rules for thee, but not for me, right? We need to keep our ideals to ourselves, right? But it's okay for them to spot off their ideals, right? But again, they say stuff like this. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequence. That goes both ways, all right? So, or to subs that are made special for them. The mods and I do not care what political affiliation you have, nor how you vote. That's not true. I think it's pretty... I call BS on that, right? Because we know that Frost cares. We know that Frost absolutely cares. And all you have to do is go back on her Twitter timeline to see all the things that she said about Trump and people that supported Trump. She absolutely cares. Frost does. This person, they seem to be cut from the same cloth as Frost. I'm sure that they care too. Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure. I don't know that for a fact. Could be completely wrong. But my speculation is that they do, despite what they say. We care that many folks here are adding vitriol to this discussion. Again, that's not okay, right? If they're just saying derogatory, hateful things, something that is completely counterproductive and just counterintuitive, I get it, right? If it's just insult after insult after insult, I understand. They lock down their own subreddit, okay? And I'm pretty sure majority of those people that are in that Reddit are your supporters, okay? That's why they follow your subreddit. And you locked it down because you didn't like some of the discussion happening. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there was people that were saying stuff that was pretty heinous and messed up. But I'm pretty sure there was other people that were saying things that were very constructive. Maybe they got a little too passionate and a little too intense at certain points. But I'm sure that there was a lot of people providing very good and solid points in that discussion. And you completely closed the door in the face of people that wanted to continue to have that dialogue. Civilly. Okay? About someone who is trying to stand up for injustice in a very power imbalanced industry. Nobody asked her to do that or to be a representative of that. It's funny because people like this, right? People like Froskurinn, people like this moderator, they think that it's their role to be the savior of all, right? They want to be representatives of marginalized groups. They want to be voices of marginalized groups, even though they haven't been asked. I'm sure there's some people that probably have asked them, but by and large, there's a lot that haven't. But they feel like they speak for them. And they're some of the most closed-minded people that you can possibly imagine. But they think that they're woke and they're enlightened, that they know better than everybody else. Even the people that they're trying to represent, they think that they know better than them. And they have this Messiah complex that they go out into the world with, right? They say, well, I can do something because, I'm white and I'm privileged and I have power. Not realizing how condescending that is to some of the groups that they claim to fight for. Thank you to everyone having civil discussion, showing support, or just backing away while this moves forward. I have said this in many threads. This conversation has exhausted itself. So there's that condescending post. They wonder why nobody is feeling them right now, right? And you're saying stuff like this, and obviously G4TV, they're okay with this. They're okay with having this kind of division. I don't see it as a long-term, as something being sustainable to long-term success by constantly crapping on half your fan base. Well, in this case, it might even be more than half your fan base that you're crapping on by saying something like this, but continuously drawing lines in the sand. I don't see how that is a long-term plan for success for G4TV's relaunch when you're constantly doing stuff like this. By being this condescending to people, shutting the door in their face, closing off potential conversation that could be had. Saying stuff like this, saying incendiary stuff like this, divisive stuff like this. You keep doing this, people aren't going to come back. They don't want to come back. And it's pretty clear at this point, I think, that they don't want people to come back. What more can you take from this than that? When they're saying really dumb stuff like this. But I know, that's enough, right? We've already ran this one into the ground. We've already taken it into the plane into the nosedive. Hulk Hogan. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd really like to know. Until next time, y'all know how it goes. The hunt continues.